Now I see.
Joining us here in the Talk About Topeka studios, we have Walt and Linda Boyd, the dynamic couple here. How are you doing?
We are well, thank you.
You guys are bringing an incredible show to the break room stage. It's 84 Charing Crossroad. Now, there was a movie made about this a while back with Jack Lemmon in the movie, you know.
Actually, it was Anthony Hopkins and Anne Bancroft.
I haven't seen the movie. I've heard people coming up to me telling me all about it, but I'm looking forward to this show. Tell us a little bit about the premise of 84 Charing Crossroad.
Well, it's based on a true story. It's about a relationship between a New York writer, which is the part that Linda plays, and a London bookseller, which is the part I play. And these two started basically with a business relationship where she writes to the fellow in London. She's looking for cheap books to do some research for her job, and the two start exchanging letters on a regular basis, and it blooms from a strictly business relationship to something much more friendly and much more intimate, and they become incredibly close over the course of the relationship, it starts in 1949 and lasts over 20 years into late 1969. And they never actually see each other in their lives. They're always separated by the Atlantic Ocean, but they become very intimate friends and become a very important part of each other's lives.
Yeah, absolutely. And you think about the technology that existed back then.
Absolutely.
It was, you had a pen and paper, and you wrote, and that's how you communicated.
That was it. And that's one of the big reasons I wanted to do this show is it's a look at a very different time. When we didn't have the modern technology today where you can just communicate with one another at the drop of a hat using the internet or cell phones or whatever we have available now. And thematically, what's interesting to me is that I think people were able to become more intimate with one another then. They were able to share a lot more of their lives with one another. We take today's technology so much for granted because it's so easy to use. But I think back then, even though, as you say, you just had pen and paper, in a lot of cases, people were able to become more intimate and closer friends.
So, Linda, tell us what it's like for you to be a part of this show.
Oh, it's been an amazing experience. Helene Hanff, the woman that I play, was just a real independent woman. She was very much into literature and writing, and she had a wicked sense of humor. So it's been quite a bit of fun to get to play a real person and get to know her. Very, very admirable woman.
Okay, and talk about your character.
My character is Frank Dole, who is the manager of a London bookshop called Marks and Company. He's a married man, very happily married, has a couple of daughters, and he's very much the opposite end of the spectrum compared to Helene. He's very withdrawn, very stiff, upper lip Brit sort of fellow. But I think once they start communicating through their writing relationship, he sort of loosens up and exposes his own very good, if closet, sort of sense of humor. And the two just end up sharing so much of one another's lives. They end up really enriching one another's existence in spite of the fact that they never lay eyes on one another.
So, in picking this show, has it been something that you've wanted to do for a long time?
It is. It was something I thought about years ago. One of the big reasons that I wanted to do this piece was I knew it would be a terrific showpiece for Linda. She's really the star of the show. The main emphasis is on her character.
Good man. Smart
Thanks,
husband.
honey.
And I knew it would be a very good showcase for her, and when Karen Hastings approached me from Arts Incorporated with the idea of doing another show after we had done Mass Appeal this spring at the Break Room.
That was a great show.
It was a lot of fun, and I got to do that show with my eldest son, Ben, and to be able to do another show with my wife, this particular show has been a real joy. People often assume just because we're a married couple and we do a lot of community theater that we often get a chance to do projects together. And that's not necessarily the case. I mean, there aren't always projects out there that have roles that necessarily fit both of us. But this one did, and I knew it would be a good vehicle for us both.
If anybody who pays attention to community theater here at all, you would know these guys are superstars to the Topeka community theater scene, because you spend so much time volunteering your labor and your love of what you do to bring that. What drives that here? What puts you on stage? What gets you there? Because it's certainly not for the money, right?
No, not in most cases.
Not one bit.
For me, it's a real love of labor. You have to absolutely love it. And over the years in community theater, I mean, we've both been doing this for about 35 years now. And there are just so many projects out there that catch my attention. I don't like to do too much of any one type of show because, there are so many different types of personalities out there. And one of the great things about doing theater and about acting for me is being able to immerse yourself in the lives of different types of people. And I know, Linda, I know you have your own ideas about what you love about theater.
Well, it's twofold. One, it's a wonderful escape. I teach school, so this is kind of a nice break from everything. And the other thing is the relationships, the challenge to become somebody else, to make connections with people that I wouldn't ordinarily be able to do so.
And so I know when you commit to doing a show, it takes a tremendous amount of time. So in a show that you guys aren't working together in, you guys may not see each other for a while, right?
That's very true.
Yes.
We're often two ships that pass in the night. During this past spring, I talked about how we had done Mass Appeal down at the break room. At the same time, Linda was doing Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf.
Didn't they open on the same night?
Yes,
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
And amazingly enough, we did manage to be able to see one another in our
You
particular
guys send a
shows.
courier for flowers back to
It can be a challenge, but there are times when you just kind of say hi, bye in the morning and the evening. But it is a special joy when you get to do a show together.
And we both understand it. We both get it. That we've got to do theater. Otherwise, we really. It's not that we don't have a point, but it's what brings us joy.
It's the drive, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's what brought you guys together, right? How
It is.
It
Okay.
is.
I gotta
we
get
act-
into this. I know it's not about the show, but I gotta
That's
find out.
okay.
How'd you guys meet?
We actually became very good friends doing summer stock in Colorado back in 1984.
Oh, wow.
In Pueblo, Colorado, there was the University of Southern Colorado Summer Repertory Theater where they did 5 shows every summer. And that was where we got to first know each other.
So Linda was 2 years old at the time.
Well, thank you. Bless you.
You started young, right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, it was kind of hard talking at first, but no, that was the beginning of it. And years later, when I was looking for a program to get into to get my master's in theater, I ended up going to K-State and getting my degree there. And Linda had moved out here and was settled in as a school teacher, and we started seeing each other on a regular basis in the early 90s. And the rest, as they say, is history.
It's very cool. And so when you come to see the break room, when you come to the break room to see the show, 84 Charing Crossroad, you're going to see these guys on stage. Who else are you going to be seeing on stage with you?
We have a supporting cast that includes Jennifer Whitworth, Gary Luke Foyles, and Marjorie Lathrop. They all play different characters, mostly bookshop employees, but they all do a marvelous, marvelous job. And we consider ourselves very lucky
Very
to have
blessed.
such a strong supporting cast.
Yeah, they're also all based on real people. So.
Wow. So the dynamic of husband and wife doing shows together, in this case, there's also that really nuclear with your castmates when you're doing a show. And so doing from show to show to show, you have a lot of good connections with a lot of good people here in this community, right?
It's extraordinary the amount of talent here in the Topeka community. I mean, we've worked for many years at, of course, Topeka Civic Theater, among other venues, and we're just blown away by not only the level of talent that you find here, but the people themselves are just so intriguing and so nice and so pleasant to work with. We've formed a close bond with a lot of people that work here.
And Northeast Kansas itself has wonderful theater. Theater Atchison, Lawrence Community Theater. I mean, anybody who wants to see good shows, all they have to do is go to a local community theater, and there it is.
There is a lot to choose from.
And what's it like? I mean, because you guys have a lot of work here. So you're doing a lot of work. What's it like going from character to character? You know, you really doing the development between shows.
I do have to say, for me, there's a point within the rehearsal process where I have to leave the character that I previously played behind and then step into the new one. So there's kind of a last year I played Martha in Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, who was not very admirable, and having to switch gears, as it were, and get the different accents and things like that. That was a challenge for me.
And to play characters on opposite ends of the emotional spectrum, for me, it's just wonderful to be able to go from playing like an admirable character like Atticus Finch in To Kill a Mockingbird, and then the next production you can dive into doing somebody like Roy Cohn, who is a very infamous real-life character in Angels in America. And to be able to do characters like that from all walks of life, I mean, it's such an enormous challenge, but it's very rewarding as well.
Wow. So what else do you guys do in your spare time, if you have any?
Spare time? What's he talking about?
I don't know.
What is the spare time you speak of, Chris?
That's why I said it that way.
When we do get some spare time, we like to spend our time together as much as possible.
Traveling.
Yeah, we do a lot
Museums.
of bed and breakfasts and museums, like Linda said. We like to see a lot of shows together. We play a lot of trivia games and watch a lot of movies.
Yeah. I keep pretty busy with my teaching career. I also, right now, my cast of Annie Jr. up at Wetmore, the little town that I work in, we're getting ready to start rehearsals and things like that. So they understand that I need to do this show, and then we'll start rehearsals for real. So I keep quite busy with a fall musical and a spring play.
Yeah, it's enough that she does community theater. She has to make that part of her real life job too.
I have to make a living somehow.
Yeah. What a wonderful thing to do something you love and make a living at, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you never work a day in your life, right?
That is true.
Well, it's Walt and Linda Boyd, a very dynamic couple. You can see them on stage together at the Break Room in 84 Charing Crossroad. A spectacular show. It plays September 12th through October 9th at the Break Room, so make sure you get your tickets at breakroomdowntown.com. There are a couple of, something new for this one. There are a couple of non-dinner performances, and then the rest of them are dinner performances. So you can check out the website, get tickets for the non-dinner. I believe those are the 12th and the 9th, and then the rest of the performances are dinner. So you have a few more options there. The meal's going to be spectacular. There is it starts with a salad, then there's the cucumber rounds with herb cream cheese. Oh, he was testing those out in the kitchen. I tried those the other night. They're delicious. I'll tell you what, you're going to
Save some for me,
right?
With doing the show, I just want to go and get the dinner.
There's glazed chicken breast, roasted vegetables. You get breadsticks. There's all kinds of a great meal prepared for you. So we encourage you to do that. And you can get those tickets right online at breakroomdowntown.com to see the Boyds. Go check them out in 84 Charing Crossroad and see the amazing cast. You guys, I'm around this place all the time. I keep walking in, seeing little bits and pieces. It's going to be a great show. The set looks awesome, by the way.
It is.
And that very little small space. That's another piece I want to ask you guys about. You know, you've performed in a lot of different spaces. You know, when you come to a space like the Break Room, it's very small. A lot of people would say there's no way you could possibly do anything like this in a spot that small. What do you say to those people?
To me, I love the intimacy of the space. I mean, in a smaller space like the Break Room, you're able to do so much more as an actor in terms of conveying expressions and gestures and just subtle readings vocally. You can do so much more in a smaller space like that the audience can catch than if you're playing in a huge house that goes 26 to 30 rows back.
Those are fun too.
Yeah.
It's
different.
much, for me, it's much more a style that's closer to film acting because the audience is right there on top of you and then they can see you up close.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What do you think, Linda?
I would definitely agree. It's a wonderful space. There isn't a bad seat in the house. So, I think the audience will become more involved with us. And as always, theater is a give and take. So.
But yeah, in a show like this, you're absolutely right. I think the audience feels much more a part of the action.
We're lucky to have so many wonderful venues here in Topeka. Different styles, different things.
Definitely.
Yes.
Each show fits different spaces, and we have such a wonderful variety of them here. So we're lucky, and we're lucky to have you guys. Thank you so much for not just attending this show here for this, but thank you for all you do to keep our art scene, our theater scene moving right along. I know whenever they need somebody and they call you up, you guys, you don't say no. You're going to be there for them, and I think that's something, I don't know if people say thank you enough, but thank you to
Well,
both of you.
thank you. We feel very much honored to
Yes.
be a part of it.
Very good. Well, we're glad to have you here. And please, folks, get out and see 84 Charing Crossroad. Check it out. You're going to have a great time. We'd love to have you down at the Break Room. BreakRoomDowntown.com. That's Walt and Linda Boyd.